orange glow of the morning sun was just starting to peek over the horizon when Josh opened his eyes. The scent of freshly cooked rabbits filled the cabin as Josh stood up and reached up into the air with a mighty stretch. He saw James and John sleeping in front of the fireplace in his two rockers and noticed all the work that was done to prepare the deer and rabbit meat. The deer meat was in a large bucket on the table in a mixture of assorted spices and salt brine. Josh thought to himself,
I'll just leave it right there to soak up the flavor for about a day or two.
Then he thought,
Coffee and breakfast.
Josh walked over to the kitchen area and started to make breakfast for his house guests. He grabbed a large coffee pot and threw some fresh grounds in, added water, and walked over to the fireplace. There he noticed 5 of the rabbits lying on the grate above a smoldering fire. They were split down the middle and spiced up with some of his dry rub.
Shoot, I forgot to move the cooked rabbits.
He placed the coffee pot on the hearth and walked back over to the kitchen area. Grabbing a large pan, he skipped back over to the fireplace, gathered up the freshly cooked tender rabbits, and hopped back over to the kitchen. He put the rabbits on the table and then zipped over to the pile of firewood. Off to the right, the rabbit skins were soaking in 2 large wash buckets filled with water. Gathering up some kindling and split logs, he fed them to the hot coals that were still smoldering. After stoking the fire, he placed a coffee pot on the rack above the flame.
Morning, Josh. I had the craziest dream last night.
Josh spun around and saw old Luke sitting up on his bed, stretching and yawning.
Oh, almost forgot. Morning, God! I got a bunch of things to do right now, but I really want to hear about your dream.
Well, I think it can keep for a few. Let me hop on out of here and give you a hand. What y'all need to get done?
I think some eggs and fried potatoes go really nice with those rabbits. You want to come outside to see if God blessed us again with some more chicken eggs? I can show you the root cellar. I got a lot of vegetables in there.
Sure, let me pull my boots on here. Oh, where's my manners? Morning, God, and thank you for the good night's sleep. Well, let's go doing what y'all just said.
Come on, Luke. My root cellar is right over there. I helped my dad build it about 25 years ago.
Well, Josh reached underneath the first hen. He pulled out 2 eggs and looked at them with a puzzled look on his face.
Praise Jesus. Looks like the Lord God Almighty done bless y'all again.
They finished gathering up the chicken eggs and counted 15 of them.
Thank you, God. Well, the root cellar's over here. Gonna put these eggs down over here. We just gotta flip this door off the entrance.
This is a nice looking root cellar y'all got here. My daddy built one when I was a youngin'. Of course we don't have it no more, cause we done left it behind when we up and left that town we was living in.
Luke, how can you take a root cellar with you?
Well, my mama says y'all can do anything with God.
Wow.
They gathered up a pile of potatoes, some carrots and onions, tossed them into the empty basket, walked out of the cellar, and closed the wooden door back over to the hole. Then they headed back toward the cabin with their blessings in hand. When they entered the cabin, the twin boys were awake, sitting in front of the fireplace and tending to the coffee.
Morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Coffee just started percolating. Should be ready in a minute.
Thanks. We'll slice these taters and carrots and fry them up for breakfast. I figured we could cook them in some pig fat, give them a nice flavor.
Josh walked over to the cupboard shelf, grabbed a large iron skillet, and tossed it onto the table. Grabbing a container that was half full of pig lard, he scooped out a handful and plopped it into the skillet. Walking over to the fireplace, he put the skillet onto the grate next to the coffee pot above the flame.
Gotta heat this pan up.
Hey Josh, let me give y'all a hand at cutting those taters up.
Much obliged. Y'all got me talking like that, y'all know?
Yeah, it be contagious.
As the pig fat started to sizzle, old Luke and Josh sat at the table cutting up the potatoes and carrots, while James and John sat quietly in front of the fireplace. when they were done cutting up the vegetables.
These taters need to be rinsed off. Hey Luke, tell me about your dream.
Well, I was flying around the sky in a cloud. I steered it with a wagon wheel, and it moved faster when I pushed something underneath my foot. You was riding in one too, Josh, and we was riding all around the sky.
Wow, I guess that means God's gonna give you that wish. I'm looking forward to it. Well, let me fry up these taters.
Right hospitable of y'all let me stay here for a spell. If y'all think of anything I can do for you, just let me know. You know, I've been thinking that if we all lived here when I was a young'un, I doesn't think my daddy would have had us up in Lee. Maybe the place we lived in just had the devil living there too. But your time seems there ain't no devil living around here at all.
That I was
Well, the coffee was done, taters were sizzling, and the eggs were all scrambled and cooked up. The four men chatted, ate a done-right, fine-tasting breakfast, and slurped on mugs of fresh hot coffee. After they all had their fill, James and John politely bid their farewells
See you later,
to Josh and old Luke and moseyed on out the door. Now it was Saturday, and the townfolk planned on getting together later on for a big picnic. Josh knew that there was a whole mess of stuff to do to get the town's main street ready for the party. Old Luke had no idea that there was going to be a big picnic feast that day.
What y'all gonna do today, Josh?
There's gonna be a picnic today in the middle of town. You're invited if you want to attend.
Be my pleasure to attend the shindig with y'all. I wouldn't miss it for the world. You need a little help of setting a few things up?
I guess so. I've got a whole ton of stuff to do.
After the breakfast mess was all cleaned up, Josh and old Luke set out to give a hand setting up for the festivities. They headed to the stables to get a horse and wagon to make the job of picking up a few supplies a whole lot easier.
Morning, Joey.
Morning, boss.
How's the new mare?
Great, boss. I named her Lily, after the lilies of the fields.
That's great, Joey. I like that.
Thanks, boss.
How's little Betsy doing? Can I see her?
Oh, she's not here right now, but it's supposed to be a surprise, old Luke, sir.
All right. Guess I'll just have to see you later on.
Hey, Joey, we need a horse and wagon right away.
Yes, sir, boss. I knew you were coming. I already got it hitched up for you.
Thanks, kid.
You're welcome, boss.
Hey, Josh, what y'all gonna do first?
Gotta run back to the cabin and load my table and benches into the back. I'm really glad you're here to help, because at the last picnic, I had to move in that there table all by myself. What? I think your mountain accent is continuing to rub off on me.
Yeah, it be contagious, just like a cold.
Well, they carried the heavy table out of the cabin, grabbed the benches, and threw the whole mess into the back of the wagon. Jumping up into their seats, they rolled off to help set up the party. By that time, Main Street was in a little bit of a ruckus, with people running back and forth getting things ready. As old Luke and Josh pulled up, James and John ran over to help unload the table and benches.
Hey, James, John, thanks for your help last night.
Well, thanks for breakfast.
We're gonna grab the picnic tables from behind the stables.
Could really use your help.
Those tables are a lot easier with
Hey,
4 guys.
Oops.
Hey,
Oops. Oh, Luke, looks like Isaac needs help with that pig.
Well, I should go and help him.
Yeah, and we can get the tables.
All right.
That was close. Sorry, Josh. Almost spoiled Luke's surprise.
Well, the whole town was working really hard with the setup. They were moving things around, cooking, cutting fresh
Isaac,
fruits
can
and
you come help me with
vegetables,
the spit?
and preparing everything for the festivities.
Isaac, can you come help me with this?
In no time at all, the whole street was decorated with tables and banners.
Over here.
Across the road, opposite the buildings, there was a horseshoe pit set up right next to a pig on a spit.
Hoo-wee! This like it's gonna be just a fine party. How often y'all get together like this, Josh?
We try to get together like this every other Saturday. Of course, it doesn't always work out. A few times, we'd wake up in the morning, it would be pouring rain all day. One time, we had the party going on, and all of a sudden, the rain clouds came rolling in from off in the distance. But that didn't stop us. All we had to do was move the tables into the stables and had our party with the horses. It looked like a square dancing hootenanny with all that hay in there. The rain was pouring down outside, and we were all inside nice and dry, having a good old time. Seems like that was one of the best parties we ever had.
Don't it always seem that when y'all see the sun blocked out by them there clouds, that the Son of God's still shining on through?
Around noontime, everything was set up and ready to go. The air was filled with a wonderful aroma coming from the variety of food placed on the tables.
These pies here.
The town's women were standing by one of the tables, arranging assorted tasty-looking desserts that they made. Pies, pastries, and piles of fresh-cut, juicy fruit were spread out in front of them. Everyone was talking, and laughter could be heard throughout the street. Children were running around and playing games. Joe was in front of the stables, cooking fresh deer tenderloins that he got from Josh. Across the street, there were men throwing horseshoes right next to the pig on a spit. Excitement filled the air, and everyone was happy to be out in the sunshine with their friends. Overall, a happy, wonderful spirit was everywhere. Joey and his little brother Mikey came running out of the stables and up to Josh and old Luke.
Sir, we're all done with what you told us to do. Can we please go play now? We did a really good job.
Out of the corner of his eye, Josh noticed a shiny horse-drawn carriage that had just pulled up in front of the stables, with two young ladies sitting in the seat.
Those two ladies over there need your assistance. Help them first, then you can play.
Yes, sir, boss. Come on, Mikey.
Hey, Luke, see those two ladies over there with the nice dresses and matching bonnets?
Yeah, they downright pretty.
Well, remember I told you about that guy that told me to get out of his way and he fell, face first into the water trough?
Busted my sides. How could I forget that?
Well, he has two girls, and there they are. That's his twin daughters, Leah and Rachel. Their father's name is Thaddeus Bartholomew Davidson, but everyone calls him Mr. Davidson, and he's the richest man in Chucksville. He has the biggest house in town with maids and a personal butler. He rides around in a custom-made fancy stagecoach. He owns a lot of businesses, including the sawmill. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that James and John kind of fancy his daughters.
I think you're right, Josh. Look at them sitting, those two girls at that table over there.
You know, I'm not sure, but something tells me that there's going to be a little trouble. Maybe not today, but there might be a storm a-brewing on the horizon.
I don't see no trouble. Looky there. They're sitting at their table together, smiling at each other and eating some pie. They two right handsome couples.
Well, that's not what I mean. Sometimes there's problems that have nothing to do with the way they feel about each other. If you really want, I can show you what I'm talking about. Come on, I'll introduce you to them.
Well, that seemed like the friendly neighborhood thing to do. But what y'all want to show me, Josh?
You'll see. Hey, hello, Leah, Rachel.
The two girls looked up at Josh. Suddenly, their smiles were replaced by frowns, and Rachel started to cry.
Oh, please don't tell on us.
Tell who?
Josh gives old Luke a little nudge with his elbow.
Daddy, he doesn't want us to be here, but we just had to come. I love Johnny so much, and I love Jimmy.
But why would your father not want his two baby girls to be with kind, sweet, and gentle, hard-working boys like James and John?
As Josh gives old Luke another nudge.
Because Daddy says they're too poor. Sometimes I just hate him. Yeah, he's so mean to people. He doesn't understand anything.
The twin girls felt slightly ashamed because of what they both just said about their father, as they pulled out matching handkerchiefs to dry their crying eyes.
Girls, girls, girls! I didn't come over to tell you that I'm gonna tattle on you. I know that both of you love these boys very much, with all your hearts. I wish nothing but the best for all of you. I have no reason to run to your father and tattle. That's your secret.
Does that mean you're not gonna tell on us?
No. I just came over to introduce you to my friend. Now, I'm not too crazy about your father, but I don't hate him. As a matter of fact, I laughed at him and said, "Serves you right," when he fell into that water trough. It was about the funniest thing I ever saw.
Leia, that must have been when Daddy came home with his brand new suit all soaking wet. It was so hard not to laugh at him. He looked so funny, but he was really mad.
Well, the two girls busted out a laughing away, and the two boys joined on in.
I remember you telling me about that. That was the day you snuck out and we met over at Tyler Creek. You told your dress on a pricker bush.
And Rachel got her new silk shoes all muddy, and then the maid had to clean them when we got back home.
Did your dad get mad?
No, Daddy didn't even see them. He's always too busy to notice us. But he always gives us money to go shopping for new dresses and shoes.
Well, I can see how much he loves you. He's always buying you things so you can dress nice and pretty. Then he can show off his beautiful little girls.
I wish that he would buy Johnny for me and Jimmy for me.
Well, they just sat there, just like that, staring at each other with big smiling faces. If Josh and old Luke would have walked away, the two couples wouldn't have even noticed. Then Josh interrupted their little daydream.
Oh, where's my manners? Leah, Rachel, this is my good friend Luke. Luke, this is Leah and Rachel.
Really pleased to meet you, Luke.
Mighty fine to meet y'all too.
Well, we're going to leave you four lovebirds alone now. Besides, we have some things to do. Come on, Luke, let's go eat. Bye, girls. James, John.
Bye. Bye.
As Josh and old Luke walked away, the lovebirds went back to eating their desserts, flirting and giggling.
Mighty nice girls. And they make beautiful couples. You think maybe someone ought to talk some sense into Mr. Davidson and see how pretty they all look together?
Well, Luke, Mr. Davidson's a strange character and probably won't listen. Maybe we should just pray on it. Let God do his thing.
Now that's some mighty fine advice there. What you say we all go and get some grub? I was getting mighty hungry about now.
Well, the time passed along and the party continued throughout the afternoon. It seemed like everyone was having such a wonderful time. Josh walked around and introduced old Luke to the families of the men he had already met. They all seemed to take a real liking to old Luke and laughed as he shared a few funny stories of his adventures, especially the story of the sly old jackrabbit. As early evening approached, Josh tapped old Luke on his shoulder, interrupting a little story he was telling to some youngins.
Luke, I've got something I gotta do. Be back in a minute.
Y'all need a hand?
No, Luke, it's fine. Besides, y'all didn't finish telling that sly old jackrabbit story to them youngins yet.
Luke let out a little laugh as he turned to face the youngins to finish his story. Josh walked toward the stables, motioning to Joey to come with him. Joey grabbed his little brother Mikey and followed Josh through the stables into the backyard area.
Come on, Mikey.
Now in the backyard area is a couple of hitching posts and a large fenced-in pen that's used to train and exercise horses. Standing in the pen was old Betsy. She was washed and brushed out clean and shiny. The two kids brushed her teeth and even shined up her hooves. She was also wearing a brand new leather bridle lined with rhinestones that sparkled in the sun. Josh looked over at the two kids who were jumping up and down with excitement.
She looks brand new. Great job, kids.
Thanks, boss.
And I help too.
Well, you both did a great job.
Thanks, boss.
Thanks, boss.
Well, Josh just grabbed old Betsy by her new leather reins and led her out of that pen and through the stables to the picnic area. Old Luke was still entertaining the youngins and not paying any attention to the crowd that was gathering around his mule. They were petting her and complimenting as to how beautiful and soft she was. Then the crowd followed Josh toward old Luke and quietly snuck up on him. When they were right behind him,
Don't mean to interrupt your story again, but we have a little surprise for y'all.
well, Luke turned around and looked at old Betsy. The shock of seeing her all cleaned up was a little startling, and a big smile grew on his face.
Betsy, what happened to ya? I never seen y'all looking so pretty. They even gave you a new leather lead rope.
Then old Luke turned towards Josh and the town folks with tears rolling down the sides of his face.
Josh, the presents that y'all keep giving me just get better and better. I don't know what else to say, but thank you. Thank you.
She's so soft. I don't know how I can ever repay y'all for being so nice to me.
You don't owe us anything, buddy. Just seeing the happiness on your face is more than enough payment. Just promise us that if you need anything else, we're at your service.
Well, all the young'uns gathered around to inspect the great job that Joey and Mikey did cleaning up old Betsy as the picnic party continued to roll along. However, it was coming up on that time for the celebration to wind on down. The parents started rounding up their children to help clean up the party mess and gather up any leftover food. It truly was a glorious party, and thank God it didn't rain. James and John helped take Josh's table back to his cabin while the street was cleaned up by all the townspeople. Now don't you worry none about Leah and Rachel, because they left the picnic party in plenty of time to get home safely, and even though they tried to make up a pretty good excuse, their daddy knew exactly where they were. After the street passed everyone's inspection, to make sure that everything was put away and all the mess was cleaned up, all the families headed back to their own homes. Josh and old Luke were kicked back in front of the fire, relaxing and reflecting on what a beautiful day they had.
You know, Josh, your life seemed like a picnic party every day. But I just don't know how I was going to remember everyone's name that I met today.
Well, Luke, if in y'all get some trouble, just give me a nudge. But it seems to be getting kind of late, and God willing, tomorrow's going to be another day.
Well, on that note, Josh and old Luke headed for their beds, said some night prayers, and were out like a light in no time flat, dreaming of the picnic party and what surprises tomorrow may bring. Good night, sleep tight, and don't let the bed bugs bite.